My stepmom and her entitled son threw all my belongings on the lawn and changed the locks on my childhood home, claiming it was time I moved out so they could sell the property. What they conveniently forgot, or rather never knew, was that my late grandfather had already transferred the deed entirely into my name 5 years ago. Their greed didn't just backfire. It left them absolutely homeless. I'm 26, and for as long as I can remember, my grandfather was my rock. My dad passed away when I was young, and my stepmom, Karen, only stuck around for the free rent in my grandfather's massive, custom-built home. Karen had a son from a previous marriage, Tyler, who was the ultimate golden child. He dropped out of 3 different colleges, never held a job, and spent his days playing video games. Grandpa saw right through them. He was a brilliant man who valued hard work. When his health started declining 5 years ago, he quietly sat me down and handed me a stack of legal documents. He had put the house and a significant trust entirely in my name, cutting Karen and Tyler out completely. He made me promise to keep it a secret, knowing Karen would make my life a living hell if she found out prematurely. 6 months ago, my grandfather peacefully passed away. I was devastated, but Karen and Tyler acted like they'd just won the lottery. Days after the funeral, Tyler started parking his shiny new sports car, bought on credit, assuming a massive inheritance, in Grandpa's dedicated garage spot. I kept quiet, waiting for the estate to formally clear. But then, I came home from a weekend work trip to an absolute nightmare. My clothes, electronics, and even my framed photos with Grandpa were piled on the front lawn in garbage bags. The locks were changed. Tyler stood on the front porch, sipping a drink and smirking. "Time to fly the coop," Tyler sneered. "Mom and I are putting the house on the market next week. We've got a realtor coming tomorrow. Find a cheap apartment." Karen came outside and handed me a fake 30-day eviction notice, even though I was already locked out. She lectured me about how I was leeching off her family's legacy and how Tyler needed the sale money to fund his new business. I looked past her through the window and saw they had actually thrown out Grandpa's antique mahogany desk to make room for a cheap pool table. I didn't yell, I didn't cry, I just pulled out my phone and called the police. While we waited, Karen called our extended family on speakerphone, bragging about how she was finally teaching me independence. My aunt was actually cheering her on. When the officers arrived, Karen immediately put on the waterworks, claiming a disgruntled former tenant was trespassing. The lead officer asked for my ID. I handed it to him, along with a certified, notarized copy of the property deed that I kept locked in my car for emergencies. The officer read it, looked at Karen, and frowned. "Ma'am," he said, "this property belongs to him. You are the ones trespassing." The color instantly drained from Karen's face. Tyler dropped his drink. I stepped forward and looked her dead in the eye. "Grandpa knew exactly what you were. He transferred the house to me 5 years ago. You don't own a single brick of this place." Because they had changed the locks and destroyed my belongings, the police informed them they were committing illegal eviction and vandalism. I pressed charges for the destroyed antiques. They were escorted off the property in under an hour with nothing but the clothes on their backs. Tyler's sports car was repossessed a month later. Now, they live in a cramped 1-bedroom apartment, drowning in legal fees, while I restore the house exactly how Grandpa loved it.